Hello, welcome to Block 4. Place value, ordering integers and decimals. Lesson 10. I'll share my screen. So, in your previous lesson, you learned how to find the median of a set of numbers. In this lesson, you will understand place value for decimals. But before I start, I want to mention that it really blows my mind that and I mean a lot of people who are deriving great value from these videos have not considered supporting the work we do, the global work we do, by subscribing to the channel. So I want to ask you for a huge favor. Consider liking the videos, subscribing to the channel, and then click on the notification bell so that when new videos come up, you'll be notified of those new videos. If you do me this favor, it is my promise to you that we will continue to produce high quality teaching videos for children around the world. Thank you. Before we start, I would like you to do these retrieval practice questions to get you thinking about the things you learned in your previous lesson. Pause the video and answer the questions in 3 minutes. You could take longer if you wish. Assuming you've paused the video and you've worked through this really hard and you've thought about the answers to these questions, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. Question 1, you were asked to fill in the missing headings in the place value chart. The first heading is ones. After the decimal point, we start to have what we call tenths, hundredths, and thousands. Next, number 2, you were asked to complete the sentences. 10 tenths is equivalent to 1 whole. Next, 100 hundredths is equivalent to 1 whole. And then 10 thousandths is equivalent to 1 hundredths. It's important you take note of these facts because we're going to make use of it in this lesson also. Let's do some new learning. How would we represent this number in the place value chart? You can see here that we have 4 ones, so we can use 4 counters. Here we have 3 tenths, okay? Immediately after the decimal, you have 3 tenths. Now, those 3 tenths, we can represent it with 3 counters, and then each counter can be written as 0.1, okay? A tenth is 0.1. So if we have 3 tenths, that would be 3 counters where each one is worth 0.1. And then here we'll have 7 counters where each counter is 1 hundredths. Okay, so we'll have 7 1 hundredths, so which is 7 counters. So if we want to write this out in words, or if we want to complete this sentence, it will be 4.37 is equal to 4 ones, 3 tenths, and 7 hundredths. And we can write it as a number sentence here below as 4.37 is equal to 4 plus 0.3 plus 0.07. Here is this one. What number is represented in the grid below? Here we can see that we have 6 tenths and we have 3 hundredths. Would it be right to write it as 0.63? What do you think? Well, you may have thought that's right, but no. We must acknowledge the place value for the ones. Although we do not have anything there, we use 0 as the placeholder. So the correct way to represent this number is 0.63. So if we want to write this out as we complete this sentence below, it's going to be 0.63 is equal to 0 ones, 6 tenths, and 3 hundredths. And we can write the number sentence as 0.63 is equal to 0.6 plus 0.03. Okay, so what we've learned so far before you do your practice is how to represent numbers on a place value chart, which includes tenths, hundredths, and in the next one, we're going to look at thousands. It's important you know that if there is no number for a particular column in a place value chart, you can complete that column using 0 as a placeholder. Pause the video and answer question 1. You can take about 2 or 3 minutes to complete question 1. Assuming you've paused the video and you've worked through question 1, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. For question 1, you were asked some numbers have been made on place value chart. On the place value charts, you need to complete the sentences. Of course, take note that this will be equal to 5 tenths and 3 hundredths. You can see the counters there. And if we wanted to read this number, it will be 0.53. And then here, by now, you should know how to complete the number sentence. So we have 5 ones, 2 tenths, and 7 hundredths. Pause the video and answer questions 2 and 3. You may take 2 or 3 minutes to complete these questions. Assuming you've paused the video and you've worked through this, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. For question 2, you were asked what number is represented on the place value chart. Of course, the number will be 2 ones, 3 tenths, 0 hundredths, and 4 thousandths. Take note that we have to use 0 as a placeholder here because there are no counters. So to read this number, this will be 2.304. And then for question 3, we were asked to make these numbers on a place value chart. Now, just to make a quick comment on this, for this one, if you wanted to make the place value chart, this one will have 0 ones and 7 tenths. This one will have 0 ones, 7 tenths, and 5 hundredths. This one will have 1 1, 1 in the ones column, 7 tenths, and 5 hundredths. This will have 1 1, 8 tenths and 5 hundredths. This will have 1 1, 8 tenths, 5 hundredths, and 3 thousandths. Okay? All right, let's move on. Question 4, you were asked, use counters to represent the numbers. Write the value of 5 and the 2 in each number. Well, if we go onto our place value chart, these are the answers for question 4. For question 4, if we represent this on a place value chart, we'll have 0 ones. We don't have tens, okay? We don't have ones, but we have 5 tenths and 2 hundredths. The value of 5 is 5 tenths, which is 0.5, and 2 hundredths, which is 0.02. And then for B, these are our answers. Here are the answers for C. So that will be 5 tenths, 0 ones. So we'll have a 0 placeholder there. We don't have any tenths, but we have 2 hundredths. So this is 5 tenths, 2 hundredths. These are the values of 5 and 2 in the number. Let's do some new learning. We can represent decimals in different ways. In fact, the first way, if we want to represent this number, would be a place value chart, which we have looked at. So this will be 3 ones, 7 tenths, and 2 hundredths. So we can use counters to represent them, to represent the numbers here, showing the place value of each of these digits in this decimal number. We can also represent the number using a part-whole model. So part-whole model. Now, part-whole model means we have the main number at the top, and then the different parts of the number, will write it in these circles. So we'll have 3.72, we'll have 3 ones, 7 tenths, which is 0.7, and 2 hundredths, which is 0.02. We can also represent this number using a bar model. That would be 3 ones, 7 tenths, and 2 hundredths. Have a think. How would you do this one? Okay. I'm sure you've spotted or you've noticed that some parts of the number are actually in the other missing parts. I'm sure you've spotted that. For example, this one here, you can use it to fill this one. And then once you fill this one, you can add them up to get this. And then that should help you fill this. And then this one here should complete this. Okay. So in the end, this is what our answer should be. Okay. So there are different ways of completing, of representing numbers, decimal numbers. We can use the place value chart, we can use the part-whole model, and we can use the bar model. Whitney says, here is another example. Whitney says that 0.12 is the same as 12 hundredths. Is she right? Have a think. Well, this is 0.12. 0.12, in 0.12 we have 0.1 and we have 0.20.001. So we have 1/10 and 2 hundredths. Well, Whitney is right because we can represent the 1/10 with 10 hundredths. So you remember at the start of the lesson when we look at some of those facts? So we can represent 1/10, this one, 1/10 with 10 hundredths. So if we add this other 2 hundredths, we now have 12 hundredths. So Whitney is right. How many thousands would this be? Think about it. How many thousands will these 12 hundredths be? Okay, if you remember at the very start, we said you can represent 1 hundredths with 10 thousandths. So you can represent 1 hundredths counter. You can use 10 thousandths of that to represent it. So if we use 10 thousandths for each of these, in the end, we'll have 10 lots for each. And then we have 12 places. So that will be 120 thousandths. So 0.12 is the same thing as 120 thousandths. Okay, it's now time for you to do some practice. You can pause the video and answer question 5 in 3 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've worked through the questions, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So this you were asked here to complete the part-whole models. Remember, to be able to get this, you could have simply said, well, I already have 5/10 here. So what should be left here should be 8 hundredths, which is 0.08. And then here, you can simply add these to get that. So this is 0.75. And then here, we know we have 1.5, so we have 1 ones and 0.5, which is 5/10. Here, we have 0.6 and 0.035. So when we put them together, we have 0.635. Then you were asked, what is the value of the 5 in each number? How does the part-whole model help? The part-whole model helps by observing the place value of each of these digits in the part-whole model. Question 6. Pause the video and answer questions 6 and 7 in 3 or 4 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've worked through the questions, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. For question 6, you were asked, Dora has made this number. Dora wants to make the number 2.38. Circle the counters that Dora needs to add. So Dora needs to add 2 ones, 3 tens, so she needs these 2 counters, and 8 hundredths, so she needs to use these counters. Okay. Next, which number is represented by the bar model? Remember, in bar model, we always add them. So this is 5 ones, 5 tenths, and 5 hundredths. So this will be 5.55. Pause the video and answer questions 8 and 9 in 3 or 4 minutes. You can take longer if you wish. Assuming you've worked through the questions, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. Here, question 8, we were asked to complete the numbers sentences. 5 tens plus 3 ones plus 6 tens plus 2 hundredths will give us 53.62. 9 hundredths plus 2 ones, so 9 hundredths plus 2 ones plus 6 tenths, plus 4 tenths will give us 902.4. Notice that we have the tens missing. So we know that we're going to have to use 0 as a placeholder, because here we only have 9 hundredths and 2 ones. So you should be thinking, knowing your place value chart, that okay, there is tens missing, which must come between hundreds and ones. So there should be a 0 there. That's why this is 902. Here we have 7 tens, 3 ones, and 9 hundredths. Notice that the tenths is missing. After the ones, we should have the tenths. So we should use 0 as a placeholder. That's why we have 73.09. Here we have 2 tenths plus 8 hundredths. So it's going to be 0.28. Okay, this brings us to the end of our lesson. So what we've learned so far is for you to use very well your place value chart to recognize that after the ones, we have the tenths, the hundredths, and the thousandths. Whenever you do not have a number in the place value columns, you use 0 as a placeholder. That brings us to the end of our lesson. Until next time, take care and bye-bye.